Welcome back. As I mentioned, we have Jeff Parker here, and we're going to be talking about the reopening of Laguna Woods Village. However, before we get to that, we've got a few numbers to go over from the Orange County Health Department, correct?
Yes. Good morning, Lisa. How are you?
Monday. Good. How are you?
How was your weekend?
It was good.
Great.
It was good.
Just real quick on the numbers. The cases are now up to 7,400 cases in Orange County. Still very low compared to other counties in the state of California. That's good. Reported 119 cases. Again, a fairly steady low number. That's good. And over 1,200 tests. Again, that was a little bit of drop. They were doing really, really well up in the high 1,700, 2,000 tests. So that may just be a reporting issue with the weekend.
Okay.
Very well could be. The only thing that's negative, we had one additional death reported yesterday. So that's unfortunate. And again, we've now reached the highest amount of people that are in the hospital at 297 people. Okay. Of those, 129 are in ICU. So that's kind of scary from that perspective. But again, it's kind of being consistent with that's the lag behind the cases.
Right.
And if people are getting really sick, then obviously they're going to the hospital and into ICU. So keep track of that. We hope that those individuals can get the right treatment. And good news is the capacity at the hospitals in Orange County is much higher than that. So we aren't at a capacity issue at this point in time. So
good. Well, good news. Maybe it will stabilize and it'll start going down, which
that's
is what
we hope for.
That's what we hope for. That's right.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, let's. I'm sure everybody is dying to know sort of what the plan is. So let's go ahead and you just jump right in and we'll follow along.
So as we indicated before, we wanted to come aboard today and just talk about the reopening of the village. The reopening of the village is not something that's going to happen instantaneously.
Right.
If you take and we have a PowerPoint. So looking ahead, with the COVID-19, we know that nothing's certain out there. And as we've shown with the stats that we've been talking about for the last month or two, it's changing dramatically. So when we're looking at our expectation of what we can reopen and what we can't, it's being driven by those statistics in the medical field. We're unique in our demographics. We've always talked about that. We're a 55 and over community. We're an active community, and yet our population on an average age is in the 75, 76 range, which means we clearly fall in that 65 and above demographic of health risk, greater health risk. And so everything that we do with regards to our reopening plan is associated with watching not only what the state's ordering, what the county's ordering, but also what is best for us, given that we are this demographically different age group.
Exactly. And you've been doing that all along. And I know that's frustrating for a lot of people because it's tough when you see other communities that are, they've got their tennis open, they have this, they have that. Again, you have to just be careful here.
So as we were following the state orders and the state projects and the county, we think within the next 3 to 5 months we will see a reopening of the village. It will be a different look though. There'll be requirements to wear masks. There will be distancing requirements at our facilities. All of that will take place.
Right.
Again, we're at a critical phase and the community must rely thoroughly on that and listen to their leadership in the sense. And when I say leadership, I mean medical, the state, the county, and also your board of directors, who I'm in constant contact with regarding with the presidents and talking about how we're reopening this plan.
Right. Okay.
Again, we're at a high risk category, our residents, so it's very important that we stay safe.
Okay. Excellent.
Key indicators in our decision-making process. Wanted to talk a little bit about that because I think people may be thinking that I'm arbitrarily just making these decisions or that we're just arbitrarily following what the board of directors want to do. And in the case that's not the reality at all. We're multi-functioning this process. So one of the key indicators is the directive state right from the state of California. They have direct orders that are the state law that we need to follow. Right. And in this sheet we talk about, and what we show on there is a link to the state of California's plan. You've shown it a number of times. They can go right to the COVID-19 California .gov, and if they take that link, they can see the governor's roadmap for reopening.
Right.
We're not mirroring that exactly, but we certainly are following that as far as orders and guidelines specifically.
Right.
And then we follow data specific from Orange County.
Right.
So as things are starting to reopen, the counties make application to the state for reopening plans. And the governor has provided certain counties more leeway than other counties depending on how their health stats are doing. So if their health stats are normalizing and are getting better and their capacities are, they're giving a little more freedom to the counties to open up. And that's what we saw this last couple of weeks, where the governor finally said in Orange County, because you're flattening out the curve and you're doing better, now you can look at, instead of just takeout dining, you, in certain circumstances, soon you're following the policies,
right.
you can do in restaurant dining, more activities such as that.
Right.
The beaches are back open.
Right.
Those type of activities, which is great because
Right.
we want to see the economy get back. We want to see people being able to go out there and shop again and dine again. We just want to make it a very safe environment for them
Right.
to do that.
And our Board of Supervisors have been informative too. I know we've had Lisa Bartlett on, and we've had Assemblywoman Cotty Petrie Norris, and they're working with the state just as much and the counties to make sure we're following the correct rules.
And that's imperative to making it, like I said, safe for our communities. Remember, we are at-risk people in the sense of the health numbers and purely that.
Right.
So we need to be careful about how we open up and how we create that social distancing and what's required. Additional key indicators for us in making decisions, I wanted to go through that, is we also get information from the federal government, from the Centers of Disease Control. They certainly have set up really broad national prevention guidelines, so we follow those as well. And then here in our own facilities, outfitting our facilities and outfitting our staff with our guidelines, safe distancing and use of PPE. And PPE is personal protective equipment. So if we're having a plumber or electrician go into your unit, anybody that's going into an individual's unit to repair something has to be fully clothed in this PPE equipment,
Right.
so that we're not putting any kind of risk on the resident for any kind of infection or any virus being transferred in there. And that is really critical for people feeling safe.
Right.
We also have had a number of calls from residents, though, that are still fearful of that. And in those cases, we aren't going in. We're not forcing the issue at this
Right.
point in time, even though it's real important. We want people to know if you had a leak in there, we want to get in and fix it, because we don't want that leak to cause more and more damage in your unit.
Right, exactly. Well, and it's the same kind of PPEs that hospitals are using. So, there's different grades, of course, because the people in the hospitals might have something a little heavier. However, you do see all over the news the
Absolutely.
hospital is wearing pretty much the same kind of thing.
I mean, they're wearing gowns, booties, the whole
Yeah.
thing, mask.
Yeah.
Even to the degree that some of them are the respirator masks, some are the COVID-19, the kind of specific masks that the hospital are using.
Right.
So it's not just this kind of covering. It's specific to being as safe as we can be in that environment.
Perfect. Well, that's good. I mean, and like you said, the individual can choose whether or not they would like to let someone in.
So as we go through that, we're staying in constant contact with our board of directors and the executives, the presidents. We have conversation with the leadership of each of the mutuals. They usually have a meeting with me, with their president and their vice president, so we're keeping them updated. And then we do an update under the CEO's report with regards to the board meetings to make sure that they have an understanding. Just like this PowerPoint presentation that we're going to deliver to all our residents, we're trying to keep everybody informed of where we're at. We finally were able to pull this all together because we've been, again, following the lead from the state, felt comfortable now that we could talk about where we're going in the future.
Right. And based on this list here, you have everybody listed, which is great because, like you said, everyone is coming together.
Right, and that decision chain of events is real important. It's not, like we said, it's not just a one-time shot, it's not just one group. We really do go through the state, the county, our executive team, the boards, notifying the boards, and then obviously communicating it through TV6, getting to come up here on a regular basis.
Right.
It has been fantastic.
Right.
Just real quick, I just wanted again, this plan is not that I'm going to show you is not comprehensive. There are a lot of things that we do here, but we're going to go into the next part, which really is the plan for reopening. This is where we have taken a look at our facilities and amenities, which are opened already, and then which are opened under conditional use guidelines, and those that are closed at this time, and how we're going to move through the same kind of phases as the governor has used.
Okay.
Kind of a 4-phase concept. So as of June 1st, as you know, we had a number of things that we opened up as far as our facilities and activities: golf courses, driving range, tennis facility, pickleball, and paddle tennis. They were our first outdoor activities that we were fortunate enough to get open. We were, again, following the guidelines from the state and the county with regard, and in the case of professional categories too, the USTA Tennis Association, the Golf Association, with regards to what is the best practice for staying safe out there. Don't touch, in the sense of the golf, the putting, not lifting up the flag. All of those things have helped keep us safer. The more distance between tee times, all of that has worked. We've allowed things to open, but we're being safer as we go.
Isn't it amazing how many things we touch in a matter of minutes?
Exactly.
Like when you said about the flag, I'm like, yeah, we touch that flag all the time, so it's good.
So going into June 1st to June 30th, we are now looking at other things that we're going to open up. Lawn bowling, for instance, we mentioned that already. Limited outdoor fitness. We're talking about, in this case, we're looking at opening up some classes like Tai Chi or yoga classes where we can hold those with the distancing, but hold them outside, like in the courtyard at Clubhouse 1. Where we have classes in the past there. So we're working on that kind of scheduling right now, and we have to hope to have those open in the next week or so. So that'll get those kind of activities. People are looking for that outside activity.
Wonderful.
We want to continue to do that.
And that would be a registration thing, right? You would have to sign up because there's only so many people you could fit.
Exactly.
Okay, good. Well, that's good to know. And then you have pools and restaurants.
Restaurant 19.
Yeah.
So when you see my list going forward, you're going to see pools actually in phase 3 a number of times. We put it in phase 2 because what we know is, one, we have a lot of people that are interested in getting our pools open. And that interest is because they want to exercise and get out there. What we know is that right now pools are not allowed to be open in Orange County and in the state of California's guidelines right now. However, I do want to note, and I think people know this, that other counties have gotten permission from the state to start to reopen pools with certain criteria. And so we're waiting for that designation. As of Friday, that designation did not exist. The Orange County still hadn't gotten approval. All the mayors and the county had sent a letter to the state asking for that leeway to start opening up community pools, which would allow homeowner associations like our own to open up our facilities. So there's an asterisk on there, and the reason the asterisk is I want you to look over to the far right, and it says contingent upon the state rescinding their orders. So as soon as the state does that, we will be looking at opening up our pools, not in the manner that you've known it in the past. What we're going to do here is we're going to restrict the number of pools we're going to open. We're going to do it by reservation basis again. And we're also going to do it by lane separation, so people aren't in direct contact with other people that they're swimming in. Then we go into July 1st, and the month of July in phase 3, we're going to expand our outdoor fitness classes and those activities. And then what we call phase 4, which is August 1st and beyond, that's where we would be looking at our community and clubhouses starting to open up. This one's real important because I know a lot of people have interest in Clubhouse 4, where they do a number of activities, but I will say at this point in time that until there is a stay-at-home order that's relaxed, I do not anticipate the clubhouses opening until that occurs.
Yeah, I mean, because they can gather just a lot of people, so you got to be careful.
So that's really going to be the trigger, that stay-at-home order. And the closer they get to opening that, the better we have a chance to opening up our facilities.
Okay, good.
On the next page, I show you a plan for reopening, which has to do with our services that we provide. I'm not going to go through every one of these because we're going to email this out to all our citizens and ask for that. But we've had so many essential services that we've kept open. Our broadband services, our TV services, our emergency repairs, financial services, landscaping, all of those stayed open while we're at. What we did was we shortened up and contracted our operations that were out there in the field in certain areas, and then our manner alterations and everything. And we did shorten that. We furloughed some people, and they're still on furlough. So we're looking at when and how we can open up. So this reopening plan with regards to services kind of shows you that for the month of June, we're going to be starting to bring back some of our teams, our plumbing teams, our electrical teams, and we're starting to do some projects out there that are real important to us. Gate 11 is construction. Our tennis renovation is getting started. So those are a couple big projects. So I wanted to make sure that the public knew a lot of our capital projects we have not slowed down on. We will continue to work on those because we want to keep the village looking good and improving in a number of areas. I don't really have anything specific in phase 3 because that's kind of the next step. But in phase 4, again, this is when we're going to reopen, really reopen, and get that stay-at-home order. Bulky item pickup. This is because the contract we have with Waste Management, they have 2 people in a truck when they're doing, and they can't sit side by side in the truck at this point in time because of social distancing. So they've curtailed that operation. Once that order is back open, then they will be able to do that. Same way with expanded transportation, painting, and prior to paint program. The more we get information from the state of California that we can reopen that business, then we will start to do that.
Right, okay, excellent. Well, you've gone over all of the phases, which is great. So now rolling out the information, obviously we're giving it here first on Village Television. And then what's the next one?
So what we're going to do now is, and I appreciate being able to go through this in quite a bit of detail today, we're going to then email this piece of information, this PowerPoint presentation, out to everyone in the village. And for those that don't have an email, we'll get a hard copy out to you too, as well. And what we want right now is we want you to have an understanding, and then we want your feedback. And so we want individuals to email us and tell us, well, I don't like that, or I love that, or I appreciate you being safe, or what your concerns are about being safe out there. And the reason we want that feedback is we want to put together a compiling of all this data. And on next Friday, you and I are going to host a panel of some medical experts. We're going to walk through this plan quickly and talk about the plan, and we're going to ask the medical experts, based on the questions that we're getting from our community, what's the best protocol? Where should we be going? What should we be careful about? Because these medical experts have knowledge about senior communities. They're dealing with them. They're our local hospital people. So they know what they're seeing. They know what's important to be protective of. And yet I think they're cognizant of the fact that people want to see the community open up as quickly as we can within that safe environment. So I think we're going to have a really great discussion back and forth, and if people will send in their questions, we'll have them put together ahead of time so we can prep for that, and then we're going to have a call-in process and an email process so that at the time of the meeting, which is live on Friday, we'll be able to talk to those doctors and get a great communication between you and I and them.
Oh, that will be great. And then, but most importantly, what we really want is we want you to email your questions to info@lagunawoodsvillage.com prior to the meeting, because we wanted to be able to give the panelists as much information as possible prior to Friday. So most definitely email those questions and concerns that you have prior to Friday, and we'll go ahead and gather that up and share with them too. So, well, gosh, that was a lot of information, but thank you so much. It's really a lot of work that you've had to, do over the last several months to get us back working again.
Well, I think I want to give kudos to the community too. One of the stats I didn't mention is we're still at 10 as far as the number in Laguna Woods. We are one of the lowest case points in all of the county. I think that is and should be a pleasure, giving gratitude out to our residents for their hard work, following the rules.
Yep.
It is real important that people wear their masks when they go out, and the social distancing is referred to. One of the things that I have been reading about is since we reopened in the state of California, a number of states, they're seeing a bump back up in the number of cases. And that's probably normal. But I think, again, it goes back to let's be safe out there. Let's be careful. These masks are helping to protect others as well as yourself. And if we can do that, well, we're going to be in great shape. We'll get our facilities opened up again, and we'll be back to, we'll say, the new norm.
The new normal. This is true.
For the village.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much, and hopefully we'll have you on again this week prior to Friday's live panel that we're doing. So
sounds great.
Thank you for the information. And remember, if you would please email your questions to info@lagunawoodsvillage.com.